Here's the slides. Let me clean up the code. All right. So this is the second part of renewable energy, which is about tidal energy and wave energy. And then next Thursday, we will cover the part 2 of current and thermal, solar, biomass, and energy, other things. Okay. About the wind already started. Wind quality is important. In another word, the energy density of each renewable energy is usually lower than the usual energy source of oil and gas, much low. So that affects the economy of renewable energy. Even though renewable energy is free for use, but the energy collecting from low density, energy density, create a cost increase. Right? Tide is coming from, as you know, that moon and sun, but moon it has more effects than sun because sun is far away. So you see that here is the spring tide in the picture and nip tide. So spring tide has a higher. So at the bottom you see that there is a high tide and low tide, and there is a difference. So tide is a periodic. How many times? Twice a day, right? Because when moon is at the other side, the tide is high. Right? So it gives you a gravitational attraction of the moon and sun. Okay. And the solar tidal force is about half of the lunar force. Tidal energy, the concentration of tidal energy. So you need to have a special area, something like a base. It looks like the map shows your UK, southwest corner of UK, something like that. So straight connecting two seas, and there is a resonance of tuning of tidal incoming and outgoing. One good point is we can predict the power output because it's regular comparing to the wind or sunshine. Tidal forces are very regular one, so that we can have a plan to use. So other energy resources which is not stable, then we can mix them together with regular power sources like this tidal force. And tidal energy capturing, there is a dam type, which usually use potential energy. And then there is another one is stream capturing. Picture at the bottom. So there's a stream of tidal movement that can rotate turbines or sometimes oscillating wings. Okay, so there is a kind of a tube here. But there's a dam type predict change of fluid. Let's see what is. So tidal capturing coming in to the dam, and then they close the door, And then after that, you can use that. Then the power output can be calculated by flow rate, water density, gravity head, and efficiency. And let me see this one.
Tidal power. Tidal power is a form of hydropower that converts the energy from the natural rise of
There's something wrong with this. What is this? I don't know why it's happening. Let me try again.
tidal power. Tidal power is a form of hydropower that converts the energy from the natural rise and fall of the tides into electricity. Tides are caused.
Oh, same happening. Video itself has a problem.
Tidal power. Tidal power is a form of hydropower that converts the energy from the natural rise and fall of the tides into electricity. Tides are caused by the combined effects of gravitational forces exerted by the moon, the sun, and the rotation of the earth. Tidal plants can only be installed along coastlines. Coastlines often experience 2 high tides and 2 low tides on a daily basis. The difference in water levels must be at least 5 meters high to produce electricity. Tidal electricity can be created from several technologies, the main ones being tidal barrages, tidal fences, and tidal turbines. Tidal barrages are the most efficient tidal energy sources. A tidal barrage is a dam that utilizes the potential energy generated by the change in height between high and low tides. This energy turns a turbine or compresses air, which in turn creates electricity. Tidal fences are turbines that operate like giant turnstiles, whereas tidal turbines are similar to wind turbines, only underwater. In both cases, electricity is generated when the mechanical energy of tidal currents turns turbines connected to a generator. The generator produces electricity. Ocean currents generate relatively more energy than air currents because ocean water is 832 times more dense than air and therefore applies greater force on the turbines. Tidal power is easy to install and renewable, having no direct greenhouse gas emissions and a low environmental impact. Because the ocean's tidal patterns are well understood, tidal energy is a very predictable energy source, making it highly attractive for electrical grid management. This sets it apart from other renewables that can be more unpredictable. However, adoption of tidal technologies has been slow, and so far the amount of power generated using tidal power plants is very small. This is due largely to the very specific site requirements necessary to produce tidal electricity. Additionally, tide cycles do not always match the daily consumption patterns of electricity and therefore do not provide sufficient capacity to satisfy demand. That's tidal power.
All right. Now we can continue. This one is from France, I guess. La Rance tidal power plant at Saint-Malo. So tidal cycle is 12 hours, same as the moon rotate, and rising tower and falling tide. Rising tide and falling tide, and turbine generation each way. At the bottom, you see that the water flow direction is changing, but still turbine is rotating. And then there are different tidal power dams. First one is Rance in France and Canada, China, and South Korea. You see that the sizes and spring tide height of them and capacity and the Rance dam is big, even though it is very old, starting in 1960s. Whereas the South Korean was relatively new, only 10, 11 years ago. So that is more efficient, probably. And then the Shihwa, the same as the previous Korean tidal dam. in west coast of the Korea, and it is 10 have a 10 generator, and then the size of range, tidal range, and the other things are here. And we go on to wave energy. Pelamis is an interesting one. They is coming from the wave up and down. So let's see the video first. Alright. Watch this time, second one.
시리는 증상, 매드는 솔루션. 시리니엔, 시린매드. 부광약품.
Right. So you see how the Pelamis is operating. So between them, let me show you. There is a cylinder and wave direction. They are up and down. So between them, the cylinders are operating each other because of the pump. Cylinder is moving up and down, and so that give us energy. So the energy output is not so big. You may think about comparing to the wind power system. The size of the system of Pelamis and size of the wind power system, comparing the size, then output is small, probably because of the wave energy density. And V wave energy converter is that similar to here at the number. Each V contains a pump that rises and falls with the wave. So this cylinder up and down together with the wave, and that gives you air chamber is compression and depression. So that gives you produce energy. And it is near the San Francisco, they are trying to use this kind of energy converter. The other one idea is oyster style wave energy converter. The structure is up and down because of the wave is up and down. Then it gives you the cylinder or piston is moving up and down, so that you see that the seawater piston here, that gives a change of pressure inside the flow line, and that change a hydroelectric power conversion plant is in the land nearby. So wave energy also converted into. Oh, there is a video. We may see the video also again. Oh, here is another video. All right. We Thai also have a video. There are many videos. Okay, let me see.
채워주고, 감싸주고, 보호하니까. 시리니엔, 시린매드. 부광약품.
My notebook has a problem. Something is not working well. Okay, here it is coming. Power V. Right. So buoy is moving up and down. At the top, you see that yellow part is moving up and down because of the wave, up and down. And that gives you a change of pressure inside of the cylinder. Right. It shows the diagram. So power takeoff system. So generator is down there. Once again, the energy density per area is not big, so that gives you an economy problem. Okay, let's see. We move on to the next one. And then people is coming. Oyster wave power technology.
Off the west coast of Lewis, in some of the wildest seas in the world, wave energy company Aquamarine Power has unveiled ambitious plans to develop what could become the world's first ever fully commercial wave energy farm. Using their oyster wave energy technology, they plan to capture the abundant energy in near-shore waves and transform it into clean, green electricity. The oyster wave energy devices will be located around half a kilometre from shore, in waters around 10 metres deep, and will be connected via subsea pipeline to an onshore hydroelectric generating plant. The oyster devices are simple, buoyant hinged flaps, which are attached to the seabed and pitch backwards and forwards in the near-shore waves. The machines are equipped with 2 vertical cylinders, each of which pumps high-pressure fresh water on both the forward and the backward stroke. This high-pressure water is then transported via a closed-loop subsea pipeline to an onshore power plant, which uses tried and tested hydroelectric turbines to generate clean electricity on dry land.
Okay.
Each device is mounted.
We may stop here and move on to next idea of anchored buoy. It is similar to buoy tie, and there are many buoys anchored down to the bottom, sea bottom. Right, so fixed to the bottom and anchored buoy, and then overtopping wave or running up. So they call the wave dragon. Looks like a dragon. So there is a overtopping wave is coming, and the water is draining to the a hole at the center, and then it gives you a turbine rotation. There are so many ideas, and there's another one is air turbine in a chamber. So the wave is coming, the air is compressed, and wave is going down, then air is pumping down, so that there is a air turbine generator as a inside the pipe. So using the airflow, because the chamber is going up and down, so it looks like this picture here, or diagrammatically. Right. So also there is this looks like a final video. Final slide and video. This is a world most biggest tidal turbine. I'll show you.
I work for UNHCR, the UN Refugee Agency. Each day,
this massive tidal turbine is about to be activated so it can start supplying power to thousands of homes in the United Kingdom. The idea of harnessing power from oceans and tides isn't exactly new. Depending on how you look at it, it's really been going on for centuries. Your basic water wheel uses the force of flowing water to generate power. But what I want to talk about today is a little more powerful than that. This is the O2, and the company behind it calls it the most powerful tidal turbine in the world. It was designed and built by a Scottish engineering firm called Orbital. The O2 is a floating turbine about the size of a 747. It's 74 meters long with arms that reach 18 meters below the surface. The O2 weighs in at about 680 tons. and those rotors are 20 meters each, sweeping an area more than 600 square meters. Orbital just delivered the first O2 to the Orkney Islands, which sit off the northeast coast of Scotland. If Orkney sounds familiar, you may have caught my video on Microsoft's underwater data center. That project also happened in these same waters, and that's not a coincidence.
And Orkney's blessed with some of the biggest, strongest tidal streams in the world, so it's a pretty good proving ground. It's a pretty hostile sea that surrounds it.
That is Orbital CEO Andrew Scott. He says the O2 can generate enough clean energy to power around 2,000 homes. So let's look at how it works. The main tube structure floats on the surface and is moored by an anchoring system. Inside that, you'll find most of the electrical equipment. At the end of those legs I mentioned earlier are the rotors, which are pushed by the force of the tides to generate power. And the blades can be reversed in pitch in between tide cycles. That means they can generate power whichever way the tide is moving. The produced power is sent through massive cables back to shore and into the grid. So what about maintaining those underwater cells? This is where the O2 design becomes really cost efficient.
There's kind of a rule of thumb generally in offshore engineering. If doing a job onshore costs $1, it'll cost you maybe $100 to do it offshore at the surface, and then it will probably cost you $10,000 to do it at the bottom of the seabed.
And that is why those legs are built on a hinge, so they can be brought up to the surface. That way they don't have to send divers down to do any needed repairs. Deploying the O2 is pretty simple as well. Scott says it can be towed to its site by simple small tugboats, which are relatively...
Right. So that's it today for my part. Any questions?